What's going on, people? Welcome to United View. How you lot all doing? Welcome to another dose of your Manchester United transfer news and a huge welcome for the debut and the reunion of Owen. What are you saying, Owen, man?
We're back. We're back, Flex. Can you feel it? Can you feel it? I can smell it. The band is back together. It's a short-lived band, but our influence was strong. We're like Nirvana of Manchester United fan channels is what we are. We're back.
100%. And what is back in style? Do you know what I mean? I got my Owen pen. Do you know what I mean? I got my pen in true Owen fashion.
We're doing notes. We mean business today.
Yeah, 100%. How you been? How you been? First of all, man, you good?
Great. I'm great. I'm excited for a new season. I'm actually, you know what? I feel it feels a bit weird, to be honest. I'll be honest at the moment, because I've got this weird sense of optimism about Man United for the season going forward. And like,
so it feels different.
Yeah, really different. I was thrown out on Twitter, like when they were talking about Varane, I was going, well, you know, when they said about talks, they're talking about, you know, money and prices or whatever. As soon as they're negotiating a fee, I went, oh, here we go. But not in the Romano way. I was like, here we go. This isn't going to be good. And then it happened so quickly. In like literally a couple of days, bang, 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 done. I was like, we can do it. We can do this. We can actually do transfers that don't take about 18 months. Who would have known? So I've got optimism. There's a lot of optimism right now. We're going to talk about the next set of optimism and the next priorities for Manchester United. Palmeiras says, hey, Flex, still got COVID. So this content is needed right now. You know, big up to yourself. Hopefully you're recovering well. Good morning, lads, says Mark Anthony as well. And Sorma says, it feels different. Had to get that inflex. It feels different, 100%. Yeah, our Sky Sports source. I'm not a Sky Sports source. I'm just a normal regular fan. Yeah, let's not. I don't want to be out here trying to claim to be to be that. Need a little ticker tape on the bottom of the screen.
Yeah, exactly. Josh says, hi, Flex and Owen. Can you get HP on soon, as in Harry Pinero? Harry Pinero will be coming on very, very soon as well. He's a big fan of the channel and a good friend of the channel. Let's get into it. There's so much to get into. And this is from Fabrizio Romano. We actually had the game yesterday, so there was a bit of absence of news within that period because it was all dominated about the game. But Manchester United, this is according to Fabrizio Romano, Manchester United's priority is now Paul Pogba, sorting out that situation of what's going to happen. Is he going to stay? Is he going to go? Is he going to re-sign? Is he going to run down the contract? You know, everyone wanted to know that after Varane, are we in for a CDM? What are we going to be doing? Where are we at? But the priority is actually what's going on with Paul Pogba. We need to sort this out. And there's been a lot of talk saying we need to sort this out because that impacts what we're going to do next. That impacts what we're going to do with a defensive midfielder. Even though Pogba stay or go, we still need a defensive midfielder. But obviously money and stuff like that, he is now the priority. There was something stupid just before we come live about an hour ago.
I know what you're going to say.
You saw it? What
the Liverpool thing? The Liverpool.
Come on.
It's like if someone was playing poker, like, and they would be twitching and going like they should be going, you have the worst poker face in the world. Because seriously, Liverpool, are you? Come on, do me a cheesy quaver. No chance.
Not a chance in hell. So that was coming up. But what is your thoughts on that being a priority? And we need to sort out the Pogba situation. Where are you at with it?
The thing is with Pogba at the moment, and like, you know, I feel like myself, I've had a bit of a love-hate relationship with Pogba whilst he's been at United. I'm not one of those people that will say like he's not world-class, because he is. He is a world-class player. I don't think you can doubt his talent. I am one of those people that says you do kind of not need to build a team around him, but you need to have the right players around him. Pogba ain't one of those players that I just think you just drop into a team, suddenly your team starts winning stuff. Because if that would have happened, we'd have been getting so many trophies for the last 5 years or so. The issue is when it comes to his contract is, I don't know, there's just something in my gut that kind of tells me he made his mind up quite a while ago. I think maybe there is a hope that with the Varane signing, especially when you saw that the FaceTime thing on his Instagram story was that he's talking to him and all that kind of stuff, then you can hope that maybe he'll stay. Obviously, Man United, they're playing the game of they're willing to let him go on a free. I think they're willing to do it.
You think?
They're willing to? I think they're willing to risk it. They're playing.
Okay, to risk
poker,
it. Yeah.
I mentioned poker earlier. They're willing to play that game. I think it's a game of chicken right now. Nobody's blinking. Nobody's moving. It's just a case of I don't know. I think Pogba's going to let it go to the last minute as well. I think him and Raiola, and I've seen people talk about Raiola, and they'll go, "Oh, let's get this man out of football," this kind of stuff. Well, in fairness, United have been dealing with him for a while. We've made our bed. Unfortunately, we're going to have to lay in that stinky bed right now.
Exactly.
I think he's going to. I think we're going to go right to the end of the season. I think Pogba's going to see the lay of the land. I don't think he's going this summer. I think United are basically going, have a season with Pogba, with Varane, with Sancho, with possibly a defensive midfielder, whether that's Goretzka, Rice, Camavinga, whoever it is. I think United are going, if we can just get a season, maybe have a successful season this year, maybe Pogba starts to assess his surroundings going, maybe I don't want to go to PSG. I mean, I don't know if PSG, the fans want him there. Those banners were up, wouldn't they? Whether it's going to Spain, whether they can even afford him. If Barcelona wanted him, they couldn't register him right now. So I don't really know. I think it's a game of chicken. I think it's going to go on till next summer. But I think United, they're playing a risky game. They're playing a very risky game. I mean, we just signed Varane, a guy that was going to be in the last year of his contract, and they had to take a shorter price on it. And United, if they were to sell him this year, they would have to do that anyway, and they're not going to do that. They're not going to sell Pogba for like something ridiculous like 45, 50 million. That's just not going to happen.
I mean,
I don't know. What do you think?
They were saying that, like, if they are going to sell him, like, their price is 50, 55 million, like that at this point. But I do think they are they're trying their hardest to keep him. But I also think there's like a resolute thing from the club saying, well, okay, we'll offer you this, Paul, but like we're not gonna be held to ransom. And I'm not saying that Pogba's doing that, but it's Pogba and his agent, isn't it? If they don't. It's negotiations. The point of them is to say, you come with this, I come with that. Maybe not that, but what about this? I don't mind that. He's got to secure his contract. This is his last big contract. I completely get that. But I think as fans, obviously, we just want the straight, downright loyalty, straight away, sign the thing so that we know that you're serious. But I just think it's definitely a positive move to try and keep him. I'm definitely trying to keep Paul Pogba. But like I said many times, if he doesn't want to sign, you can't make him sign. Like, that's the thing. If he doesn't want to be there, then you get those stories again. He's a negative influence. He's a cancer in the dressing room. He's this and he's that. And like you said, but the problem is, like you said, with negotiations, is they're never straightforward. It's very rarely want this. Yes, got a pen out. I'll sign it. It doesn't work. It don't work like that. A lot of the times it is very back and forth. And is he completely loyal to Man United? Only he probably knows that. He's probably loyal to himself and his agent maybe first. Maybe we don't like that. But that's football at the end of the day. These are independent contractors, right? You have to get the best deal for yourself. And I know we don't like that, but this is going to go on and on. I would be really surprised if we saw Pogba go in this summer window and then it's just done. I just can't, unless United have a real big contingency plan of we're getting him. They're coming in. It depends on Pogba leaving, but I don't see that at the moment. So I think it's going to go on and on, to be honest. Yeah, I definitely agree with that. NM says great to see Owen flex, quality signing. And Kevon says Jim White Flex has signed Owen on a free. And DJ, big up DJ, contribute on the channel as well. Just made his debut the other day as well. Says morning Flex, big up to you, Owen, on your debut. Good points on Pogba. I'm a fan already. A lot of love for Owen today.
That, DJ. Wow, you're gonna make my head swell. It's gonna be like this. I'm not gonna fit in the screen.
100%. United Fan TV says, hey, hit the like button, guys. Hey, that is, I think, Varane in the comments as well, just coming through and having his say with his hate. If you know, you know. But don't forget, listen to United Fan TV. Make sure you smash the like on the video, hit subscribe if you're new. Nearly over 600 people watching as well. Let's see if we can get to 1,000. That is always our golden number. We've been smashing that out the ballpark recently as well. Also, right, I feel like if Pogba leaves, I'm worried that we won't replace him. I'm worried that we won't replace him, and I'm worried that the investment won't go into that area. Because for me, whether Pogba stays or Pogba goes, we need a defensive midfielder. Like, we can't. For me, I don't want to let Pogba go, and then we use that money to sign the defensive midfielder, because that's what we needed anyway. If Pogba leaves, we then need an attacking midfielder and a defensive midfielder. But a lot of people have said, Owen, but then that's why Donny's there. Donny can do it. Obviously, he's not a Pogba, but it will be his chance.
It's funny you mentioned Donny, because just before we went live, I was seeing some like pictures of him on social media of like from the game last night, and they were saying like, oh yeah, look, he's bulked up, he's got bigger. And to be honest, I did not see it. I did not see the bulk in Donny van de Beek last night. They were like, oh yeah, he's bulked up massively. I was like,
he looks exactly the same.
Yeah, he looked exactly the same.
Especially in person.
I agree with you on that. That this is what's great about United fans, that I think for most clubs, if you'd signed Jadon Sancho and Rafa Varane, you'd be going, I tell you what, we're going to be close to the league this season. But I would probably say most United fans are still going, no, we still need a defensive midfielder. We still need better squad depth. We still need another right back, to have some competition there with Wan-Bissaka, all that kind of stuff. So I agree that irrespective of Pogba staying or leaving, we need a defensive midfielder. The issue is that if Pogba goes, you need a defensive midfielder and someone like a Paul Pogba. And for the price that we would be selling Paul Pogba for, as you mentioned earlier, if it would be 50, 55 million, do you get a Paul Pogba replacement for that? I don't think you do. I think whilst they're saying that, I think the reason why they're saying now that the priority is to get Pogba to stay is because they realise Pogba to stay is the difficult hurdle to get over. Now, if we get over that, we can sign a defensive midfielder. We've got our target. Yeah. They're already talking about, we're putting, feelers out there to Goretzka, talking even if it's next season or whatever. They've already got, they're aware of who they want to go after. I think they realise the tough situation. That's why I think we're not hearing anything about Trippier that much, and you're hearing those stories about he's willing to wait and all that kind of stuff.
So just quickly on that, though, there was an update from Samuel Luckhurst just before we went live, and that is that Trippier, people in Trippier's camp and his family are expecting, and him himself are expecting a deal to Manchester United to materialise towards the end of the transfer window. That was a little bit of an update, which we were going to get to, but since you brought it up, I thought I'd let you know.
Yeah. So, like, again, my point with that one, which feeds in nicely, is that I think they realise, United realise, like they're not that they're done deals, but they would get done relatively quickly. The big hurdle right now is the Pogba one, and if they can get him locked down, Suddenly, they can then transition to Trippier or defensive midfielder, because they know that's an easier deal to do than Paul Pogba, which they've been trying to do for like 2 years. No, they haven't been able to. So maybe it requires all the attention and focus, and maybe it did require signing Varane, Sancho first, to be like, cards on the table. We mentioned a poker game earlier, cards on the table. Look, we're signing players. Solskjaer's being in all of his interviews now. Look, I'm being backed. There's subtle messages, not just to the fans, but to people like Pogba as well. I'm being backed. I know you signed on for a project. It was Mourinho's project initially, but, the project's back. Look at the improvement in the league positions, all that kind of stuff. So there's so much, and you have to wade through all of these sort of press releases that you get as well. But there's so much you have to sift through to get to when it comes to Pogba. But again, my thing is, I just don't think it's going to get solved.
What's your gut feeling? You don't think it's going to get solved? Like, what's your gut?
Well, whether he stays or leaves next season or just eventually.
Just now, or just went like next season now. What?
I'll be totally honest. Like, if you just look historically, because that's what you have to look to like history or whatever. If once they get to that last season, it's pretty rare, and it's for big players. It's pretty rare, and you don't. Have you yet to see a report that comes out saying Paul Pogba, he's willing to stay unless for this, and this, or he's willing to stay if we get these things matched, or he's willing to stay if United win the league? I don't know if we've seen anything like that yet. It makes you wonder, what realistically does he want? Because we haven't seen the report that says Pogba goes, no, not interested. I'm leaving next season.
That's not happening. And even the noises coming out saying, look, which I kind of believe, I've always believed, that he's not an issue around the dressing room like some people paint out. You ask any player, any coach and staff there, they love the guy. He's a people's person. He's probably the life and soul of the dressing room. Don't get me wrong. Is it unsettling when this stuff's going on in the background with Raiola and stuff like that? Probably slightly, because even they as players would probably be like, oh, I love like playing with you and chilling, like you're so fun and that, but I just do want to know if you're staying, sort of thing.
Yeah, exactly.
But I think they just have that agree to just not, everyone just don't ask. We don't talk about that.
Yeah, just don't talk about it. Just don't talk about contracts.
But because when you're in here in Carrington, we're all having a laugh.
Yeah, I agree. Again, it's a really difficult one to tell. If you ask me my gut, again, I would be leaning more towards he's got his eyes set on somewhere else. But I do think that can change. I don't think his mind is made up right now. Put it that way. I don't think he's firmly decided either way. I'm staying, I'm leaving. I think he might be leaning towards leaving, because again, he signed on for what, 5 years when he signed for us in 2016, and the impression he got, he had a massive transfer fee, and I think the impression he got with the Mourinho and the project at the time, he was going to come to United, it was going to be this big United resurgence, we were going to win the league, Champions League and stuff like that. That hasn't happened, and I think, like you said, he realizes now this is the last contract, and I want to win trophies. I want to win the biggest of the big. The issue is right now, is previously in the past, win the biggest of the big. That means you go to Spain, Barcelona, Real Madrid, safe bet. You'll probably get a couple of leagues and maybe a Champions League. That's not a safe bet anymore. Nobody knows who's going to win the Champions League. Nobody knows who's going to win even La Liga over there, because Madrid and Barca aren't doing that. It's Atletico Madrid. Not bad for an uncompetitive league, by the way. Sick of seeing that.
Yeah, exactly. So that's why Varane's crap.
Oh God! Honestly, I've seen so much of that. Well, there's no easy game in the Premier League. How many 7-0s, 8-0s, 9-0s? United had a 9-0 like last season. Come on, no easy games. Oh, ridiculous. So, so I don't know. So I think that's the issue as well. Is where would he go? Where would he go that he has the greatest success? I don't think he knows that as well. It's not simple anymore. All of this is very convoluted. So. I don't know. I kind of wish-wash for the answer. I don't know. I don't know.
So after all of that, I was like, I don't actually know. Roland Wright says, if Pogba wants 400k per week, I'd just pay it. The last thing on Paul Pogba, I was speaking to fans last night after the game, which was fantastic. If you're watching and you was one of the people on the fan cams, big up to yourselves. A lot of those guys have messaged me. And anyone that I met, I saw someone in the comments saying, I met you last night at the game, and people have DM'd me saying it was great to meet you. It was great to meet you guys too. You guys know that I love being there, speaking to fans, getting out to games, because that's what it's all about. So big up to you guys. But a lot of people were saying that, Flex, I'd just give them the money. It's not my money. Like, we keep moaning that we want the Glazers to spend the money on the squad and not take dividends just for their own interest, like spend it on players. I don't care. I want Paul Pogba to stay. If he wants 400k a week, give him it. Other people were saying, want to avoid the Alexis Sanchez situation and smashing the wage structure and stuff like that. Where do you stand?
I probably lean towards the latter, to be honest with you, because again, knowing the Glazers, you don't want to give them a reason. And if you give them the reason of Pogba's on this massive wage, you give them a reason not to invest later on. You give them a reason to say, well, we're not going to buy this person, or we don't want to bring in this person because we don't have the money. Pogba's on a lot of money. Pogba becomes almost a bigger scapegoat. If he gets this massive contract and suddenly it's, well, all the money's going to Paul Pogba. I know he needs now. If United aren't succeeding, now that's his fault once again. And again, that's not his fault. If you get offered money, you sign the paper. That's it. So, I mean, again, I think you have to be realistic for contract negotiations. 400 grand a week for Paul Pogba. Has he really shown that he's worth 400 grand a week at United? I think that would be that again. Or is the question?
Could he then show that in this United squad with what it looks like now? Could he be a 400 grand a week player? Consistently, because he's shown he can do it, but like I said, consistently, probably not. But
consistency's always been his thing. Consistency's always been his thing. That's why you need, a great defensive midfielder. You need other options, because Pogba will show up for maybe 2/3 of the season, but that extra third that wins you a league, you never know. You never know. And if Paul Pogba's not on, then he's not on. He's not on. He'll just kind of jog around for a bit. Again, that'll be his response in the negotiation, wouldn't it? Well, give me 400k and I'll show you how much of a 400k player I am. And that's what it is. Yeah. Again, go back to it. That's what it is at the moment, and 400k a week. I mean, who's the highest paid player at United right now? Is it De Gea?
It's De Gea.
He's like 300, 350,
375, 375.
But then if I'm
someone like Pogba's going to say, you got your second keeper, mate, on 375. Exactly. Don't tell me that I'm not. And you want me to play every single game 90 minutes? You got Brandon Williams on 80 grand a week. Like, what? Give me what I'm worth. He's going to say
exactly. And that goes back to my point. That shows the importance of a wage structure, because when you get into negotiations, people start comparing. Those numbers are out there, so they'll start saying, well, David's on nearly 400k. I mean, I'm a goalkeeper, and I'll put it out there. 400k for a goalkeeper. It's outrageous. It's outrageous. It is. So they'll compare that. So, and again, if you want to say De Gea's on that much, then you would probably say, well, Pogba maybe should have 400k.
Two things. Brandon Coker says, great to see you at halftime last night. Breakthrough player next year, ? So that's a question for you, Owen. We'll come to that. And where can I see your interviews at Preston? Do you mean when you're actually there? If you're actually there, obviously I will be there just outside the away end, obviously, we'll be there or thereabouts. You will find us. And if you want to know where to see them, if you're not at the game, right here on United View, you just see it on there, subscribe, and you will see the videos. And secondly, we're over 1,000 people watching as well, which is sick. So love that. Big up to everyone who's watching. And make sure you guys smash up the like button as well and hit subscribe. As United Fan TV, one of the mods says, and big up all the mods as well inside the place. Also, breakthrough player of the year. That was a question.
I tell you what, I'm very hesitant to judge people off preseason games because they're just, when people get angry about them, I'm just like, come on. And we've all had preseason stinkers. They're just,
so basically it's Andreas Pereira. Oh my God!
Well, exactly. Andreas Pereira,
and he's going to score loads of goals.
I don't know if it's so typical of him as well that he's got. I mean, he'll never score a better goal in his career than that. Never score a better goal, right? He'll be telling his grandkids about that. They'll say what they call it, Papa Pereira. That's what they'll call him. Papa Pereira. What's the best goal you ever scored in your career? And he'll be like, I tell you now, it was Stretford End, Man United. They'll go, oh, okay. He'll go, there's about 30,000 people there. It was, coming out of pandemic. They go, oh, okay, great. They go, volley off the bar, went in. Oh my God, who was that against? Go, Brentford, preseason friendly. They'll be like, worthless. It's like a ticket to Tokyo right now.
It will be on
it's like a ticket to Tokyo at the Olympics right now. Good to have, worthless, absolutely worthless. So that's the thing with that goal. Great, but the only thing I can hope is that maybe we sell him because they'll go, oh, he's got that in his lock. I think he's scored like 5 goals in his career. That's it. He's a midfielder.
They're all well.
Oh yeah, they're all great volleys. Great. Okay, it's like the Olympics. You have to wait once every 4 years to see it. Great. Breakout player.
Yeah.
I thought Alanga's looked really good. I think he's got good minutes this season. I tell you what I like though. I was talking to a few friends of mine the other day. I really like Palestri. I think he's quality. I don't know if he'll play this season. The problem is you just get Sancho in. It would be bold by Ollie to be like,
very
Sancho
bold.
Signed him. Palestri, you start. What?
But they're saying as well. He's going to probably go to Deportivo. They're waiting on final details, and he's almost certainly going to get a loan. It's almost like with all these young players that you're talking about, Alanga looks really good. He did. Ahmad looks good already. He really does. Add Jadon Sancho into that right-hand side. Mason Greenwood, right-hand side. Palestri, right-hand side. Dan James can also play on the right-hand side.
Yeah.
There's a lot going on there. So there's going to be a lot of loans. And I think Palestri is going to be one of the first ones out in that position, to be fair. But he did look sharp.
If you say breakout, can we technically throw Greenwood in there? I mean, he's broken out already, but I mean, if he has a season, but if he has a season where he scores like 20, 25 goals, that's an even bigger breakout season.
I suppose that's another breakthrough. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know if he's going to play up front, but you
really
would think,
you can call it one to watch. You can call it one to watch.
Yeah, exactly. Because I mean, Cavani is still Cavani, still going to be injured at points this season. So Greenwood's going to have games where he plays as a striker. He doesn't need to play out wide anymore, which is good because he shouldn't be playing out there because his future's a striker. So maybe it's a breakout season for him. Maybe by the end of the season, which I think most people are accepting it's going to be Cavani's last. Maybe at the end of the season, it's a case of, it's not too big of an issue that Cavani's contract's expiring and he's going because Greenwood's already the main man at this point.
Someone just put a comment there saying Shahil says, Man United just reported that Alex is going on loan. Is that true, Flex? I just saw it. Alex or Axel, do you mean? Tuanzebe? Or I'm going to check that while we're live. But on Tuanzebe though, where do you stand on him? Does he need that loan for you? Is he needs to get that?
I would probably say yes. Because I mean, realistically, last season, I was stunned, to be honest, how little he played last season. I mean, the issue is that with his obviously his injury history, is people will go, wow, he was out for a long period of time. Is he going to stay fit? How long can he stay fit for? But for a lot of the games last season, I don't think it was a case of he wasn't fit. He just wasn't played. I mean, Ollie, for what it's worth, if he's got his centre-back pairing, last season it was Maguire and Lindelof. This season, you would hope it's going to be Maguire and Varane. He doesn't like to change that much, irrespective of the game, because he doesn't like to break that up. And it kind of, with someone like Tuanzebe, it's just a case of, well, if you're not in that pecking order, and now he's even lower down than he was last year. Maybe he had a great loan season when he was at Villa. So
yeah, he did. Well, these are the quotes from yesterday. He said, of course, with Raphael coming in, I can see Axel going out on loan because I have Varane, Maguire, Lindelof, Bailly, and Jones coming back in.
Did he mention him?
No, he did say that's what he said.
Yeah.
That's what he said.
Oh my word! I mean, I suppose when you've got Phil Jones on what was it, like a 4-year deal, 5-year deal? Gotta use him. No one else wants him.
Oh man! I mean, they just do it. There's no way. I'm saying there's no way that Phil Jones has been injured that long. Yeah, it's impossible. It's impossible. Yeah, they've just said, look, Phil, you're not going to be in any plans ever. You're on the big contract, so obviously he's gone, well, I'll just sit on the peas. Like, not a problem. I'm on a big contract. But what we will do to be respectful and not make a thing of it is we'll just keep saying you re-injured yourself in training. Or Ollie's key phrase with Phil Jones is, Phil's had a little bit of a setback.
Yeah.
A little bit of a setback. He's had a setback. How many setbacks has he had?
I don't know. Phil Jones at this point, like again, it's crazy. I think, I mean, you talk about agents, you talk about Raiola. Phil Jones, I think he has the greatest agent in the world. I want to know his name. I want to get an autograph from him. I want to hire him for myself because that guy is the fact that he can work out deals like that to the point where, like you said, not even the case of like he's not playing. You don't even come into training.
Just chilling.
Injured. And at this point, it's believable. Rings up, got a bit of a knock today. Okay, setback, put it down.
Exactly.
You know,
I saw Phil Jones. I'm going to see if that video's still there. I swear to you, and no lie, everyone can check this if you think I'm lying. I saw Phil Jones do a YouTube video or like a video with Charlie Sloth. I swear to you, because he does DJing. I swear I saw that. I'm checking now, right?
I think I've seen those pictures of him wearing like some really outrageous attire as well. Like his like fashion sense. Like I can talk, but his fashion sense is. I mean, it's crazier than his faces that he pulls during games. I mean,
100%. That's just, but that's look. Do you know what though with Phil Jones? In all due respect, like I think there was a period where he was our main centre back. Like he was Smalling and Jones. Like he's played in big games for us. He's won a Premier League. You know, he was signed under Sir Alex with big aspirations. And there was a couple of seasons where he was actually all right. He was quite solid. He was good in the air. He was decent on the ground. And then injuries just kept coming and coming. And then obviously Calamity Jones, where he would fall over and just do mad stuff. But I think, to be fair, I know everyone's laughing at Ollie saying Ollie's a liar. And I know KG says that. But really, he's just doing the best by the player so it doesn't make a scene. You know, he's not going to come out and be horrible, is he? He doesn't need to come in the press conference and say, he ain't playing for me, mate. You don't fancy him. You know, you just manage it until he leaves. The team selection is what speaks volume over anything. A manager can say what they want, but if a player isn't playing, the same with Donny, the same with Alexis Sanchez, or when it was Lukaku or whoever it is, the manager can say they're in the plans, they're this, they're that. Like Jesse Lingard, same thing. The fact is, on Saturday, mate, when you're not even in the 11 or you can't get off the bench, that says more than any interview. And he's not even been at training.
Exactly.
So we don't need to worry about that.
Well, and also as well, you have to realise of him as well that again he has been there like over 10 years, and you can't. Yeah. Ollie's not going to come out into the press conference and be like, "We just can't get rid of him. We just can't get rid of him." But leave because I'm sure he's got a lot of people within the club, on whether it's the playing staff, coaching staff, people that actually just work at Carrington. They probably like him. They don't want the manager to come out and go, "Can't get rid of him," and then turn people unnecessarily against you. You know, that's management. Management 101. I'm sure everyone knows the situation that probably United would want him to leave, and he's on, you know, a 4 or 5 year contract for a big wage, and he never plays. But I don't think Solskjaer signed off on that. Unfortunately, that's not his remit. You know, he probably just got told Jones has got a 5 year contract. He went, "What? You're kidding me? Who?" He probably went, "Who? Phil? Who? I've never seen him.
How? What?
I've never seen Phil Jones. Oh, I thought he was a ghost."
No, I hear you. Connect Real says, I got to go, but big up Flex and welcome Owen. Big up yourself. Love that. A lot of love for Owen today. And let's move on to the Kieran Trippier thing.
Yeah.
Let me know what your thoughts are on that in comparison to Wan-Bissaka. I spoke to a couple of people last night who were saying, Wan-Bissaka, mate, I tell you what, if Kieran Trippier comes, he's better than him. He'll be the number one for me. Some people saying that. Obviously, Charlie Austin's comments were I think the way he's phrased them were completely wrong, because he's saying the one thing that he's very good at, he can't defend. Positionally, he's fantastic. But other than that, oh yeah, my mic isn't on. Apologies.
Well, it's been off for the whole show. How annoying is that? I've just turned it on. There you go. How annoying is that? Thanks. You know what, Keenan? Big up. Flex, your mic isn't working off your laptop. I've got my AirPods in. I've got my mic plugged in. And all of a sudden, I just realised that I weren't even using it. Apologies. But anyway, clearly hasn't affected. There's still 1,200 people watching.
Exactly.
Yeah.
They'll all leave now.
Yeah.
Like the guy's still listening to him talk.
And people are saying it was all right, mate. These AirPods are actually all right. The mic that comes with them. No adverts or anything. Just saying they're pretty good. But what are you saying about Trippier, man, over Wan-Bissaka?
Yeah, I agree with you. I thought the Charlie Austin stuff was just ridiculous. I thought
it was wild, a bit wild.
I saw it. And I think sometimes, and you have to take those things with a pinch of salt, because sometimes I would call Charlie Austin. I don't care, but sometimes when it comes to like pundits and players and whatever, sometimes you have to be allowed to get punditry work, folks. So I would consider that. 2, he played him in a pre-season friendly, which might have been, was that Wan-Bissaka's first pre-season friendly, something like that? I don't know. So
I think he's played in all of them. To be fair, I think he's played in all of them.
But to say, he's
been
bad. We played him at the weekend. He's a terrible defender. He can't defend. Didn't he have he had the highest interceptions in the league last season? All that kind of stuff. To say that he can't defend, ask most United fans, they'll say actually the issue is him going forward. He needs to go forward more. He needs to get better in his final third. His delivery, got a cross last night that got a goal. So I wouldn't listen to that. I think Trippier coming in is a good thing. I think we saw the situation last year with Tellers and Shaw. So having that little bit of competition is exactly what you need, not just to push people on, but also just case of, look, you look at, I hate to use City as an example, but they are a very good example. You need a squad. Nowadays, you need a squad. You need to be able to bring in players and swap them in and swap them out. Dalot, I don't think he's up to the level. I mean, last night, that last goal, the guy just walked past him.
Yeah, just
walked past him. And, having Trippier in, and if Wan-Bissaka, like any player, goes in and out in form, you can just bring Trippier in. There you go. That's an experienced guy, good on set pieces. Lord knows we need to, we've got Harry Maguire. We need to improve on our set pieces, right? Great on set pieces, got experience. I don't have an issue with that at all. And then people are saying, again, I see this as well, but any player United bring in, well, this is going to mean so-and-so sits on the bench. It's going to mean so-and-so doesn't play. Are they going to take that? All the other big clubs, you've got very well-paid, quality players that sit on the bench for a long period of time because that's what you need. Again, you look at a club like City. Mara sits on bench for half the season. You don't see them complaining that much because, again, that's what you need to win things. You need to have a situation where, look, if you're going to have a game where Ollie decides to go to a back three, I don't mind having Trippier as either a wing back or a right-sided centre-back, whatever. Or in some games where you're playing 3 games in a week. I don't know what the schedule's looking like this season when it comes to the pandemic and stuff like that. Lord knows with the World Cup coming up next season, we're entering an era once again where the fixture is going to be really tight. You need to be able to rotate. Part of the problem last year with United, evidence is in the Europa League final, is Solskjaer doesn't make any subs until the 100th minute because he's looking at the bench going, I've got nothing. I've got nothing. Nothing that's going to come on.
That trust.
No, exactly. And then having someone like Trippier, that's a great example of a player that he can go, look, Wan-Bissaka's not playing well, switch him in. If Wan-Bissaka's just tired, switch him in. And just the competition alone. So it's so frustrating to me when people say like, oh yeah, they're going to sit on the bench and they're not going to take that. I don't want them to take that, but you're a big club, Man United. It's a squad game now. It's a squad game. The time is gone of having 11 players and that being enough. It's not enough. It's never enough anymore. So you need, in those positions, you need 2 players each position, especially things like fullbacks, because especially with the job nowadays, up and down, and injuries, etc. So I like it. I think Trippier's a good signing. If we get
I agree. I agree with everything you just said there. Stanley Russell says, missed most of the video. Work is crazy, but glad I'm still able to see you guys live. Big up Flex. Big up Stanley. And thanks for even logging in. Like if you got work, I appreciate that. And look, interesting this. Stephen Williams says, Trippier not needed. Let's see what the chat is saying. We need rotation. Agreeing with what you say, that guy Vic. I would get Trippier, says who knows. He's more attacking than Wan-Bissaka. And disagree, says Paul. I think Dalot looks good. To judge him on one mistake is idiotic. I don't think Owen is judging him off one mistake, though, to be fair. I think, defensively, I think it's a fair analysis to say that Dalot doesn't look amazing, doesn't look brilliant. Going forward, he looked a little bit exciting in that breakthrough season, mainly coming in on a right wing in that season. He looked all right. Looked like a decent crosser of the ball, but he didn't look like star quality, and definitely looked like he needed a loan. He's gone to AC Milan and he's done all right. If Trippier comes, like I said, I think it's exactly what we need. You know, the squad depth element. You can talk about who's better. That's a separate argument, and who would be better for the team. I'm just talking about if Wan-Bissaka got injured tomorrow, who the hell will we play? Who?
Exactly.
Who?
And if you're saying that having Dalot for the rest of the season as your right back, unfortunately, you might have good games, but that's not going to win you things. You're going to be in trouble.
It's going to be a massive issue.
And Lord knows teams that would be playing us, if Wan-Bissaka gets injured tomorrow and it's like, right, Dalot's all we've got and we're going to play him right back, you don't think Leeds are going to put everything down right-hand side first game of the season?
Exactly,
of course they will. Of course
exactly.
They will.
And that is an issue. For me, you know, Brandon Williams, I don't think is ready yet. He needs a loan. Dalot is clearly going to go to AC Milan anyway. He's not going to be in the plans. Or depending on the injuries or whether we get Trippier, I don't know. Maybe one of them will have to stay. But ideally, they clearly aren't in the plans. And we need to do what we've done with the left-hand side. You've got your main player, which in this case is Luke Shaw, a decent player and backup in reserve in Alex Telles, who looks like he can come in and do a job if needed. And we don't have that luxury on the right-hand side. Then there's the argument of actually Wan-Bissaka coming in. Kieran Trippier coming in is actually going to be very good. I think he'll play a lot more games than people think, because I think that calming influence. I think Ollie, with where this squad is, the experience, and then you look at the back four. I know Wan-Bissaka's English as well. Might even change to Democratic of Congo, Republic of Congo, so he can play. But he's English. He's in the current setup alongside Harry Maguire, alongside Luke Shaw, Dean Henderson in there. That's a real Ollie thing going on there. Real British English contingent with Rafael Varane as the leader there. Like it would just work from set pieces, whipping them in back stick for Harry. You can see it. You could just see Trippier playing for us and playing well. I could. So I think him and Wan-Bissaka would actually battle it out, because I think if Trippier comes, he ain't coming to just say, oh, I'll just push Wan-Bissaka that bit further so he's on his toes. Trippier's coming because he's got assurances from Ollie that he's going to play games. Exactly. I believe, if he comes.
Exactly.
And I like Trips.
He's got experience as well, you know. And again, he coming from a team, not just obviously for his time in England, but coming from a team. He just won the league in Spain, you know, and he's been under, you know, an unbelievable, one of the best defensive managers like Simeone out there. You know, our criticisms a lot last year with United and the defending and all this kind of stuff. You know, you need that kind of experience back there. That's why you bring in Varane. That's why you bring in people like Trippier. Seen there, been there, done it, and coming from a weaker league, though, obviously.
Exactly.
And again, but yeah, I think it's I think it'd be a great start. I think it's exactly what we need.
Yeah. Well, Pyramid did say not for 40 million, never. I agree with that. The price has got to be right. 100%. The price, you know, 20, 25 million tops for me. Yeah, I'll have it. I'll have him all day. Or if you say send Dalot to Atletico Madrid, give them him. Exactly. But Simeone, but to be fair, Simeone, you know, he knows the levels of Trippier. They just won a league with him, so he won't be able to pull the wool over his eyes. Tabarez, always in the chat. Big up yourself with the super chat. Says, I hear the argument that Ollie is learning on the job. What has he learned? It's the same repetitive things. Big up Owen, and you're right. Jones isn't injured. Do you see that? Where do you stand with Ollie? Yeah, actually, I haven't spoken to you in so long. He got a new deal. You know, how do you feel about that?
The new deal wasn't that much of a surprise. I think everyone thought knew he was going to get a new deal. Realistically as well, and I know that, again, you've got those people that just don't like him for whatever reason, Solskjaer, and they don't think he's the right man, and they've got their criticisms, and they're totally entitled to that. That's their opinion. That's cool. I just think realistically, from United's point of view as well, there's very simple when it comes to Solskjaer. One, who else would they get? There's no one out there right now. Two, it's very, very difficult. I know we haven't won anything yet, and I know it's the whole semi-final and final deal, and let's face it, against Villarreal, basically bottled that final, just didn't show up, and you can make criticisms of Ollie with the substitution, the tactics, etc. That's fair, that's justified, but you know, there is consistent improvement. I know that I put on Twitter, I said, look, first season, that interim season when he went permanent at the end, finished sixth. To be honest, bottled that season, should have made top four. Next season, you finished third. Next season, you finish second. That is consistent improvement. On paper, empirically, that is improvement. And someone responded to me that went, our standards have dropped. And I went, well, yeah, they have, because we've dropped. We have dropped. Yeah. But that's because of seasons of finishing eighth and having this constant upheaval in managers and people coming in, people coming out, and people on, you know, that like only going to be around for 3 years and no long-term project. I'm very content to have a manager that's going to be around. If he sees out this contract, it'll be 4 years. So that would be what? Like, he'd have been around for how many years at that point? 6 years?
Yeah,
7 years, whatever. I'm more than happy with that. What is served United so well in the past, and I know it's a different era, but it's continuity. You need to have the same things in place. I'm tired of constant upheaval, and this coaching staff comes in, this manager comes in. Ollie's happy there. We're doing fine. We're getting in big players. He's been backed, but you can't argue he hasn't been backed by the board this season. And those people that don't like Ollie will continue not to like him. But the way he can get them on his side is by doing what he's doing and finishing higher in the league, getting more points and ultimately winning trophies. If he doesn't win a trophy, I know people said last season, you'll remember as well, he would have going to be coming into his last year of his contract this season.
Yeah.
You get, not that he was going to go anywhere. It's a pretty easy negotiation. But again, I always say this to people, like, well, who would you get in? And people go, we'll get Zidane in. Yeah, come on. Let's be realistic.
It doesn't really fit with what's going on now, does it? Lionel says, this is a make or break season for Ollie. He has been backed with all of his first options. He has to win something to show progress or title challenging team. And I agree with that. I think it's really simple with the Ollie situation, because I think it sets a tone. And you have to think of the bigger picture. And it's like you just said there, Owen, he would have been going into his last year, which brings a level of uncertainty of what's going to happen, right? And when you're trying to get players and sell a project to big players like Rafael Varane, like Jadon Sancho, like even getting Paul Pogba to stay. When you're trying to do that, they want to know what they're signing up for. They want to know what is the system in place? What's the structure in place? How long's the manager going to be there? I know this is going to be a big signing, and I'm a big player because I believe in myself. So I back myself if Ollie goes. But he wants me. How long is he going to be there for? I just feel it sets a tone, because at the end of the day, the results say what's going to happen. You could sign a 6-year deal tomorrow. If he loses the first 10 games and we're rock bottom, he will get sacked.
Yeah, exactly. I mean,
do you know what I mean?
If he finishes 6th or 7th, then again, it's like before. You have grounds to say, right, get rid of him. But there are no grounds.
There you go.
There never have been grounds.
There hasn't. There's been times where it's close, where it's like, oh, flipping it, where are we at now? But he's always managed to get us out of that situation. 3rd, 2nd, back-to-back Champions League qualifications, a cup final. Okay, we didn't win, but it is slow progression in those areas, and the squad looks healthy. The proof will now be in the pudding, though, because I do agree that actually now he's getting his players, and this squad is looking like, apart from one central midfielder and a backup right back, and keeping Pogba, but let's just say Pogba stays, all you then need really to be winning the league is a defensive midfielder.
Yeah, it's not a million. It's no longer a million miles away. It's no longer a million miles away anymore. So, but again, this is a good thing with United fans, is to say we don't get defensive midfielder, say we don't sign, defensive midfielder, say we don't sign Trippier, we only get Varane, Sancho. I don't think people won't be going, he's got to be winning the league, because I think we're realistic here that even though they're such big signings, Sancho and Varane, still probably isn't enough. When you're looking at the competition out there, still probably isn't enough. But Solskjaer now, I mean, he said when he first came in, well, it's got to be my team. It's pretty much his team now. It's a Solskjaer team. Its season's obviously really important season for him. But let's be honest, unless something really catastrophic happens and we don't get top 4, I mean, if we finish 2nd again, he'd probably stay. Because United, again, this is what's crazy about United standards over the last few years, is that it hasn't been a given. We get Champions League 2 years in a row, 3 years in a row. That hasn't been happening. It's one season in, one season out. That needs to start
happening again as a basis to then go forward. Because you can't just. That's the thing. We all want not instant success, because I get it. It's been. I don't blame us for saying, God, we just need the league. We want to win the league. Of course, it's been 8 years. It's nearly a decade. So, but the process of doing it has been so bad in the transition from Sir Alex to now, that every manager who's come in has had to start again and start again and start again and start again. And as fans, that pisses us off to the point where years are going past, and we're like, we just want to win now. Just, sack him, start again, sack this person, start again. At some point, you need to stick with something if they've given you enough to buy into to stick with. And I think that's what Ollie's done. He's got to the point. He's earned the right to say, right, guys, I've given you just enough buy-in, because like I said, the not winning things and the style of play, I get that. But he's given just enough with building the squad, the players that he's brought in, the confidence that's in the players now. getting back-to-back Champions Leagues. He's done just enough there to say, okay, now judge me.
Yeah.
Innit? Like,
Yeah,
now
exactly.
judge me. I've got these players. I wanted these players. I'm nearly there. Vikram says, I think it's good. I think it's a good thing playing this team during preseason, Lingard, Andreas, etc., because we need them to leave. We need to offload these guys. Well, yeah, it's both, innit? At the end of the day, if you don't play them, who are you going to play?
Exactly.
Like all the first teamers have been away,
play.
so we just get what you're going to do. Just do the back of a Frosties pack. Send in a competition. If you win, you get to play in the friendlies. You have to play. You have to play. Do you remember them? Sending them in.
I do. Fill it out. Put it in the post. I haven't heard that reference for years.
Hey, listen, mate. I won a little Batman toy off the back of that. I was gas, man. Honestly,
Wow.
The back of the Frosties pack used to have loads of loads. It was a little throwback there for you. Throwback Thursday. There you go.
Yeah.
Silverback says 1.3K watching and 400 likes. Hit the like button, guys. Yeah, make sure you guys do that. I know you guys tune in straight away and forget to like because you're enjoying the content and having your say as well. But don't forget to just hit the like button in the bottom corner as well. But yeah, just back to the Ollie thing before we move on to the next subject before we finish off. I just feel like it's an easy one. I think when people are getting outraged by him getting a new deal, even if you're Ollie out, you should still be able to see, well, this is where he's at. This is where he's built the squad to. And essentially, if we don't get the results, he won't be there anymore. And then you, as an Ollie outer, you may get your wish, but don't wish.
Your point's been proved, but
exactly.
Surely you want to see Man United succeed. You might not like Solskjaer, but if he succeeds, you can't argue with that. And so far, has he succeeded to everyone's huge? I don't think everyone had huge expectations of him, to be honest. I think people didn't think he was going to last this long. So surely it's got to be a positive. As a United fan who, don't get me wrong, I say this to my friends all the time. I've been spoiled growing up watching Manchester United because I've never known them anything but winning. Right now, I'm in the prime of my life. Flex, they lose all the time, or they don't have the success that they used to. Right, and I don't think and as a fan, I'm desperate to see that back. Some games like the Europa League final, I watched Solskjaer, I'll be like, I wouldn't have done it like that, or I'm not sure that was the best performance from you, Ollie. But I want to see them succeed, and if Ollie's the guy to make United succeed, don't have a problem with it. And you might not like him. People might have their disillusions about his vision or the way he plays, but ultimately we want to see Man United succeed. It's been far too long. Yeah. And again, I don't think anyone expected him to do this job. People thought he'd be gone. No. He's just a Cardiff manager. Instantly. He's just from Molde and all that kind of stuff. And the proof is, like you said, it will be in the pudding, but not bad so far. Considering where it was from before,
it could be better. And look, people. And I don't want to get this confused with people because look, just because you want the manager to go, I don't think that doesn't stem from a place where you don't want the club to do well. Like some people, I think, will maybe stick with it so bad that they would take the club doing badly or whatever, just like so that he can go or whatever. But my thing is that you can there's loads of people I know that are Ollie out and reasonably Ollie out, quite reasonably. Like when they present their argument, you go, yeah, do you know what? True, man. Like I see what you're saying. Didn't make any subs in the Europa League final, man. It shows quite limited there. Like tactically, 100%. Changing things around, responding to the opposition, loads of things. I get it. Still playing a two-man pivot in midfield. I get it. There's loads of reasons why you can not think Solskjaer's the right man. Track record, nothing to buy into. Yeah, but at least with Klopp, it took him 5 years to get to to lose those finals and then win. But there was a track record of you knew he could do it. I get that. So and all those things are valid. But I just feel like at this point, surely he's earned the chance to go this season and see what he can do. Angie S says, Ollie's rebuild has been incredible from the players to the structure to the back office. If he succeeds now, that's awesome. If he doesn't, a new manager just needs to get the results on the pitch because he's got he's got it there. And he says, aren't you guys afraid of the fact that our first team players are not returning back after their holidays because it will have the same problems as last year, that the team isn't in sync? Well, that will be my last bit that I'll get onto, so hold that thought. And Tabarez says, Glazers only want Champions League. If we win the Europa League and finish 17th in the league and win no other trophies, then he won't get the sack. Ranieri has proven more than Ollie has. Tabarez is like one of the most Ollie out people. He's always on the channel, sending super chats in. And Vikram says, I think it's a good. I've read that one already. Let me make sure we've read out all the super chats before we move on. I think we are good. Yep, we've read that one. We've read those two. And that. So we're up to date with super chats. Last thing I wanted to talk about, Owen, is what someone just said there in the super chat. Are you worried about the players coming? But I calculated, Ollie said that everyone's coming back on Monday, or the remainder, or it was reported the remainder of the squad is coming back on Monday. So that would be, so Monday they come back. Then we've got Preston. Well, we've got Preston on the weekend. So they're coming back after that. So they'll have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. They'll have that week. They'll have that 1 week. And then play against Everton on the 7th. So that's 1 preseason game. And then another week of training ready for Leeds. So 2 weeks and only 1 game played. And then bang, straight in for Leeds, 75,000 packed out, high energy game. How are you feeling about that?
Well, I saw you could kind of tell Ollie's not worried, but he's aware of it, because I saw the interview he did with MUTV after the game last night. And he said that the unfortunate thing is it's not just Leeds, it's not just a derby, it's not just all of that kind of stuff. It's also probably the most physically intense game of the season you're going to have. Their press is so intense. Like, it's just not ideal to have Leeds' first game of the season of a fully fresh Leeds, hasn't been doing any running, apart from in pre-season. They're going to be up for it anyway. But
with their first team players as well.
Exactly. That I think he's aware of that. Ultimately, though, that's where you earn your stripes as a Manchester United manager, because this is nothing new. Sir Alex, whoever's been the manager for years, if there's a Euros, if there's an Olympics, if there's a World Cup or whatever, you've always got this staggered of people coming back. It is what it is. It's just a case of managing it. Like we mentioned earlier, to bring it back around, it's all about a squad game. If you've got a squad that can cope with that, that's why you have squad depth. That's why you have players in your squad that you can interchange, come in, come out. Obviously, it's not ideal that we've got quite a big English core, and England were in the final of the Euros, so that doesn't help. But again, that's just you can't. People that can be worried about that, and people can, I don't necessarily complain about that, but that's almost the price of success, isn't it? That's the price of having players that are going to be internationally successful. That's the price of having the best players in the world at Manchester United. So I would be slightly concerned. I think Solskjaer is slightly concerned because, as he mentioned, there certainly would be games he would prefer to start the season against. Not Leeds, not the team that does the most running, not the team that's going to press the hell out of you. The positive thing could be is that every time we've played Leeds so far, they tend to, because their press is so intense, they tend to play in our hands. So, with the counter-attack and stuff, I think that's how he will set up anyway. That's how he'll set up against Leeds. Even though it's at Old Trafford, he will set up as, your press counter-attack.
Because we won't quite be ready yet. We won't quite be there yet with the new sign. You know what I mean? Even like, will Varane even play in that game? Because really, Varane is got a quarantine, gets sorted out. He's not even had his medical yet. So he's definitely not going to play against. I'll be very, very surprised if he plays against Everton. Maybe, I don't know, maybe the deal's he's there and done by the 4th or the 5th. So he's had 1 day training, and then maybe he just gives him like sort of half an hour. Maybe, I don't know, but I'll be very surprised. And that in turn then means I'll be very surprised if he starts against Leeds first game of the season. I'm not saying that Varane can't handle it, like some pundits would say.
Well, he's coming from this weaker league, and he can't adapt, and he's different. It's too different. He's barely. I saw one. He's barely done any defending in some games. Are you kidding me? He's defender.
Do me a favor. But if he does miss that Leeds game, it won't be because I'm not sure if he can cope with the pace of the Premier League. It's more anyone who, don't matter how good you are, you still need a bit of time to get up to speed and some training. You know what I mean? A couple of pre-season games. He hasn't been at Real Madrid. He went back for like 1 training session and then left. So at the moment, he's probably just got to keep himself ticking over. He's then got to fly here, quarantine for however many days. Don't know how much they can fast track it because he's a professional sportsman. So his whole routine will be out of sync. Then he might only get into training, like I said, on the 3rd, 4th or 5th, couple of days before the Everton game. So, maybe the Everton game, you do just throw him in, give him 20 minutes or give him 45 or try and get something out of him, see where he's at. And then he trains real hard. But hopefully they do something behind closed doors or something. Surely they've got to add another game.
It would be like, I would think it might be a bit like Cavani when he came in deadline day last season.
Cavani as well. Yeah, exactly.
He was a similar situation. I would hope that through that they've kind of got plans in place. Look, I'm sure they've sent him over. Like, even when you're quarantining, this is your plan. Do this, do this, do this, do this. When you come into the training ground, again, you'll probably be, on your own for the first couple of days or so. Do this. So you would hope United would have a bit of foresight to be like, we're going to plan this out way in advance. We've got you tracked to hopefully even have something involved, maybe against Leeds. I don't know. The issue is that it's not, with your centre back, not like a striker. If you're a striker, if you start on the bench, doesn't matter. Bring you on half an hour at the end. Centre back, it's not a case of we bring you on for half hour. You play or you don't. You're not getting subbed in and subbed off really. So that will be probably the issue for him then. But again, but this is just part of the course start of the season. You always have players that aren't ready, coming at different times and all that kind of stuff. It's very rare, isn't it? It's very rare that you've got day one, everyone's back, bang. Especially in the course of the last few years. So time will tell when it comes to that with Varane.
Yeah, exactly. And I'm a bit haunted after last season, seeing how badly we started. No fault of Solskjaer's, just with the schedule of COVID and players coming back, the turnaround in the season. It was absolute carnage. Tabarara says, what has Ollie done with what Ollie has done with Tuanzebe and Ahmad and Van der Beek? The way we play and in-match game management has been shocking. No other manager would get this many chances. Hope he proves you wrong, Tabarez. I really do. I know you are staunch Ollie out, and that's fine. That is your opinion. But hopefully he can settle you down as well. Listen, what a show. What a show, man. I've really enjoyed that. Nearly 1,500 people watching live as well, which is great. How you found it, Owen? Good?
Amazing.
Happy?
Amazing
Yeah,
flex. I'm happy with my debut. I really appreciate having the chance to come on here, reuniting, getting the band back together. Hopefully we can make some more music in the future. Keeping those puns going.
Yes.
Yeah, it's been great. Always happy to talk Man United.
Wicked, man. Definitely. You guys are going to see a lot more of Owen coming up as well as DJ. And we go again, guys. We will see you all tomorrow. Smash a like on the video. Subscribe if you're new. If you didn't check out the match reactions and the fan views from last night, make sure you guys do that. After this, have a check to see what people had to say post-match after the game against Brentford. And we will see you all again very, very soon. Peace.